Hey, this is Khaled Farouk Hayek with Urban Kids Universe, and welcome to UKU Impacting Education Show, where we help early childhood educators, child care directors, homeschoolers, and parents of 2 to 6 years old make an impact. Today, we are going to talk about connection and communication with kids. It's a very important topic, and we call it communication is key. Today I have with me Jagdeep. Okay, let me introduce Jagdeep to you guys. Jagdeep is a licensed ECE educator since 2001. She has worked in many areas of childcare and fields, including private and public sectors. Jagdeep is also a life and health coach, a master NLP practitioner, an EFT TFT practitioner, and Reiki master and a licensed mental health facilitator for the adult and the youth program with the Canadian Mental Health Association, BC Division. Jagdeep also involved in a number of organizations for empowering and supporting children and families. She's also a mother of two amazing, beautiful children who she believes to be her best teachers in life. Welcome.
Hi, Khaled. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. I'm very, very excited. It's a very, very important topic that you chose today, which is communication is key. And like honestly, when I met you the first time and we were over the Zoom meeting, you told me a lot of stories, and I loved it. Like the way you were connecting with kids, and like this is what I wanted to share with people. Let's share some real stories about that, and let's learn from your expertise. Let's start by your
Absolutely. Let's do it.
absolutely awesome. Let's start by you telling us a little bit about yourself, and then we dive in.
For sure. Thank you, first of all. So my name is Jagdeep here. I have two kids who are 9 and 12. My son's 12, my daughter is 9. Um, I currently work with youth as well with the mental health, and I've been an ECE since 2001. So I absolutely love kids. And I love how we as adults can learn from children. So that is my number one thing. Children are the best teachers, my kids included, even though they can drive us nuts at times, but they're still always teaching us. So I think we're very blessed to be in this field where we can, take our teachings and learnings and then watch the children and then allow them to teach us. So that is what I would love to for us to talk about.
Totally, totally. By the way, my daughter Lema, she is 12, and my son Farouk is 8.
Oh,
Exactly. And then I
nice.
have Sana as 3. So like that was like a very, very interesting that oh my god,
Yeah.
last time when you told me about them, I was oh my god, I'm gonna apply everything she's teaching me.
I mean, we're always learning from one another and then being in the field as well, because I work with all age ranges from preschoolers onwards to now to the teenagers. And it's just so interesting to see that the number one thing really is communication, which is what we're going to talk about today. But it goes from, I mean, it even goes into adults, but we're here to talk about children. It all is all about communication, even from a young age of 2 to 3. So it's really key. So let's jump in.
Oh, absolutely. Let me start with this, a very important point right away. I like if we wanna divide the age group to different ages. I realized, based off my experience with the 3 kids so far, that the kids, like the younger age group, since they don't have a lot of vocabulary, they don't have a lot of word to express their feeling, they get frustrated a lot, and absolutely, this is why they throw tantrum sometimes, right? And here where they feel that they lack a communication from their end, right? Like they start with that very like frustrating. So
Yeah.
let's start from there. Give me some real life examples happen with you, like with some kids that you had, like when you teach when or at home, okay? And then let's start from there and we go to other points.
Yes. So, when they're younger, because just like you said, they don't have the language to explain to us what's going on. So then we see them being angry or being frustrated or throwing things or just not wanting to do things or the tantrums, right? That is their way of communicating with us. And then when we as the adults step into that and start getting frustrated, saying, "Well, I don't know what you want," or "Tell me what you want," it's really taking that step back and looking at this is also their way of communicating with us. So when they're having a hard time, like, when we feel like they're giving us a hard time, it's really important to turn that around and go, they're actually having a hard time. So they're not trying to make it hard for us. They're actually struggling with something themselves and they don't know how to get, like, sometimes you'll hear kids say, well, you don't understand me, or I don't know. Like when we say, well, what do you want? And they'll say, I don't know. They really don't know. They don't know. And we don't know either. So sometimes we just need to hold that space just for them to know, okay, this is a safe place. Like sometimes when my kids were younger, they would say, Mom, you don't understand. And instead of me saying, yes, I do understand, I would say, you're right. Acknowledge, you're right. I don't understand, but I'm here for you. And then I would just give them that hug, and you can feel the body just kind of melt, right? Because when we're angry, we're so tense, and they're tense, and we're tense, and just acknowledging, you're right, I don't understand. Can you help me understand? Can we break it down? What are you feeling right now? Or just nothing, just the silence. Take the pause, hold them. If it's your own child, I know in ECE we can't do certain things and whatever. We can still hold space. We can still be at their level. We can still sit with them. We don't necessarily have to touch them if we're not allowed or whatever, but we can be in that energy with them and create that loving energy instead of that frustrated energy, because kids have a really good sense of bullshit. Right? So if we're gonna say, I'm here for you, I'm trying to listen to you, they're gonna see, well, her eyebrows and her mouth isn't saying that. Whereas if we go, you know what, I'm here for you, I'm sorry, I don't understand, but I'm here to help. That alone just allows them to kind of melt a little bit.
Oh, totally, totally. I have two feedbacks on this one. Like exactly just 2 days ago, I was getting in a car and I have Senna, the 3 years old. And I was like thinking, and while I'm thinking, I was like doing this, like exactly with my eyebrows, like so I'm thinking, and she just came to me, Dad, were you sad? Okay,
Oh,
immediately. I told her I'm not sad. And she said, were you mad? So absolutely, she just felt it like with my character, let's call it. Okay, for that one, this is my first feedback. The second feedback, when you said like we come down to them and then we let them help us understand what they're feeling. Here is a question, like right away, which is basically at that point, sometimes the child, especially the young age, they are expressing multiple feeling at the time. Exactly like Sana said, sad and mad at the same time, right? It's
yeah.
a different percentage. Okay. Now, how you, like, based on your experience, how did you help them distinguish the difference between the exact feeling in that situation so they can really express what they need so you can help them to the next point?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, even in my house as well, and at the schools, we have a chart. We have a chart where we can go over and we just move the magnet onto. Can you look at this chart, and it's got all faces on it? Maybe I'll bring it down on our next call and show you. And it's a chart with all different faces on it where they can pick what they're feeling. This is how I feel, or this is how I feel. But before we even get there, the most important thing is, it's like, think about us when we're in the middle of something and someone says, how do you feel? Right in that moment, we don't know how we feel. We're going to say so many different things. The number one thing is bringing them back to their breath, first of all, right? Because what is the first thing that we do when we're feeling anything? We'll stop breathing, or we're shallow our breath, or anything, right? So in that moment, what we do as adults is we go into problem solving. I have to fix this for them, right? Instead of going into fix mode, if we just go into, I'm just going to be here. It's a different, because, we always want to fix, just want to fix it, make it better. But when we're doing that, we're not allowing them to understand themselves. So when we get out of that fix mode and just go, I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to be here. Allow them to breathe, or breathe with them. Okay, you know what? Let's take a deep breath together. Take a deep, and they pick up on that so fast. They'll breathe with you, and then they'll calm down. And then sometimes they'll just start crying because there's so much pent up stuff. they'll start crying. And then when they release that, that's already a release that they've done.
Wow.
Right. So instead of getting into the, I got to fix this right away, just get out of the fix it, take a step back and say, I'm just going to be here right now. That's it.
You know what? Absolutely. Oh my God. I just because for the sake of the call, I'm not gonna write it down right away. I'm gonna go back to the recording. This is amazing. The majority of us, especially as parents who doesn't have experience before, who didn't learn all of these stuff, we go in a fixing mode. This is something new I learned today. Oh my God. Just take them one step back to the normal mode by helping them together to breathe. And then we do it one step back, and then we think about fixing.
Exactly. And then you can go back, you circle back around and you can talk about it, right? Once that part is done, then you can go to, okay, we have this chart. Tell me how you felt. Because then they actually know how they felt. Because in the moment, they don't know how they feel. I mean, I always say, take it back to us. When we're in a moment and someone came up to you and said, tell me how you feel right now, you'd be like, I don't know. I'm just mad. But you're not really mad. There's more to that madness, right?
Absolutely. Or sometimes they cannot express it, but I'm not in a mood to answer questions right now. Like I just want to calm down. Right? Oh my
and
God.
Sometimes we're just adding more noise to it, right? They've already got so much noise and we're talking at them and they're like, oh, this is too much. Sometimes the silence is so powerful.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Let me add also one more feedback and then I'll go to the next point. The feedback here is sometimes we as parents, we think if we said the word, if we said the demand, oh, they already understood it.
Yeah.
But at that point, maybe exactly like you said, it's just an extra noise and they're not even listening. Like they're in different alternative universe. They're all in their own universe right now, right? Like it's not connected. So there is no connection, even if you think there is something, but there is no connection or communication. No. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna ask you about example. Okay, it happened with us a lot as parents, and I need the feedback. So we went to the grocery store, and then the kids are very excited. All of these colors, all of these goodies. And they're touching everything. Like, I want to see this. Oh, okay, keep it put it on the side. I want to see it. And it keep happening. And now, because of the COVID, right now, we are very extra cautious. We don't want them to touch anything. So we start telling them, oh, please do not touch it until if we want to buy it, or unless if we want to really buy this one. Because we respect the owners of the grocery store or dollar store. So the point is, at that point, they're not expressing a hard feeling or angry. They're expressing excitement, but they're not listening. Right. And here there is a gap of communication between us as parents and them because they're just so into it. And you tell them one time, second time, three times. I believe that the way I am approaching as a parent, the way my communication as a parent is not effective at that point. Okay, so can you give us any or teach us any other what we call it other communication technique rather than demanding? Don't do this, stop doing this. Go ahead.
So even in the moment, I mean, it's like us or like anybody, when you're excited, you're just really excited, right? So again, it's saying rather than stopping that excitement, because then we're not allowing them to feel what they feel, acknowledge it. I can see you're so excited, but this is what we have to do because we do have to follow the rules. Or even after the fact, right? So when you're driving home, it's always about acknowledging. So acknowledge it. Don't say you weren't listening. Say you were so excited in the store. It's so exciting, right? When there's so many things to see. But when we go into the store, we have to remember that we can only touch what we're going to buy. Turn it into a learning moment because every moment's a learning moment. But whenever we're talking at them, they're not going to listen, right? But when we turn it into, I can see you were so excited. It was exciting for me too. Just get on their level, right? And then next time before you go in, you just on the drive there or the walk there, remember how exciting it was last time. So just remember, it's really exciting when we go, but we do have to listen to, this is what we have to do, just step by step, right? Because when we break it down into steps, they actually know what we expect from them. When we just say, don't touch things, why don't I touch things? And, it's just explaining to them, again, communication, right? So just explain to them, this is why we can't do it. And then they understand. If we just say, don't do it, well, what do I do instead? Give them something else to do. So
This is a
don't
very
do this, but
important
do
point.
this.
Absolutely. Sorry I interrupt. Like, this is
No,
absolutely very
no.
important point. Give them something like another option. Do not just
Yeah.
stop them, right?
Because we always say, don't do this. And then they're thinking, so what do I do instead? So we have to give them something to do. Don't do this, but do this. Turn it into what they are allowed to or able to do, right?
Wow. And you
Yeah.
know what? I believe, like, after I hear this, I believe I'm gonna just to start doing, like, literally, I'm gonna just to start preparing trips to the dollar store
Yeah.
only so we start this practice. I don't want to
Yeah.
buy anything at that point, but
Right.
let's do this. So we put it in practice. So I teach myself first how to communicate,
Yes.
and then that will reflect on them. But if
Absolutely.
always the situation happen when I am busy, when I want to go back to work, when I want to go, I don't have the patience to do this, right? Like,
Yeah.
even myself. So the best way to do it for them, to serve them, is to put it in practice in my free time.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely. And again, like I said, we're learning as well, right? So maybe these are tools that we never learned from our parents, but now we can learn them and then we can teach them to our kids so that they're actually learning these tools at such a young age that it becomes second nature to them. We're learning in our adulthood, but they're going to learn as children. So it's pretty phenomenal, really.
Wow. You know what? Today, I believe at 5 p.m. Eastern time, a family like of our friend invite us for a barbecue. I'm gonna go with my kids first to the dollar store
Yeah.
to apply this. Really, we're gonna go buy some goodies for the kids just to apply this, and
Yeah.
I'll try to see how it goes.
Yeah. And then I'd love to hear your feedback from
Absolutely, I'll
it.
give you my feedback. I'll absolutely do it.
That is
Okay,
great. Yeah.
awesome. Let me go to one of the other points. You know what? Okay, here is an important point. I heard this from you at the first time we met together, when you were saying that, like, I see a lot of kids, they're not really enjoying the time in class, or they are like a little bit trying to stay away from the teacher. And then when you came in, they start opening their heart to you. So sometimes, and it happened, I totally agree that sometimes some teachers approach the kids in different communication from others because we are individuals. The point, I heard this word from you and I loved it, which is active listening.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Elaborate. Give me some examples of the kids that you used to teach,
Yes.
and then how they really, you shifted that mindset, you shifted that interaction with the teacher.
So, I mean, I understand when we're in a classroom setting, we have so many kids to deal with. If we're working one-on-one, it's a lot easier. So I understand that it's tough for the teachers, right? We have like 20 kids, 12 kids, 8 kids, however many, it's a lot of kids. So we can't take that one-on-one individual time. But when we really get, again, it's that step back, right? We're always, because we have to do this next and we have to do this and we have a schedule and an agenda. And if one of the kids or two of the kids or 5 of the kids don't listen, we feel thrown off. We're like, but I have to get this done because we're on this get done. This is the way we work. We've got a schedule. We got to tick off the boxes. But all kids can't fit into that box, right? Everyone's not going to walk in that straight line. Everyone's not going to, they all have different needs, just like us adults do. And just like you mentioned really beautifully about the teachers, right? Like each teachers have a different personality and none of it is wrong. Like I always say, it's all right. We're all here teaching one another. But again, if we really observe and we listen, if a child needs that space to just sit out at that time, we should be able to respect that and give them that, right? Because we're so worried about ticking off the boxes, but they need to get art done, right? And I'll tell you, I actually see how parents appreciate that. I mean, some parents might want to see, what did my kid do today, right? How many parents actually think about, well, what life skills did my child learn today, right? You can tick off all the boxes, but if your child is frustrated doing the art, what are they really learning from that art? Nothing. But if we're teaching them to listen to, at this time, I just need a break. I just need quiet time. We're actually teaching them to listen to themselves, but which first comes back to we have to listen to ourselves as the adult. So if we just kind of observe and see, well, this child is really struggling with art. What if I just said to them, hey, do you want to just go read a book or just have some quiet time right now? Or acknowledging what they need, right? Because kids, again, they don't always have the level and they don't always feel comfortable telling us what they need. So as the adult stepping in and going, I notice that you're not enjoying that. Or I get that we need to go through the academics and all of that. I totally get that. But it doesn't have to be hard. It can be, the more flow we're in, the more the kids are going to learn, the more we're going to enjoy all of it. The more structured we are, and I get that we need structure, but we can bring it in with flow and really listen to the needs of the children.
Totally. Also, like I have two feedback on this one. Number one, ask any parent, like including myself, ask any parent which one mattered the most at that exact day. Is it the structure that they learned it, or the personality and emotional development? Oh, absolutely. I want them to develop that personality over time, and it will take time, right? So it will take practice. And I am, as a parent, I want that the main focus, like during that school time. Now,
and the other thing is, when we get children into that, whenever we feel good about ourselves doing anything, we will actually do more. So if we get them into that feeling good, you'll probably get 3 pieces of art out of them rather than 1, because now they feel good. Whereas if you say, well, this is how you have to do it, even that 1 is going to be a struggle for them. So really, we actually get more productive when we listen to what they need or what we need, any of it, right?
Yeah, totally. Oh my God, that's absolutely. Think it as a picture, you're getting more over time, right? Yeah. Like I was about to mention the second point, I just forgot about it.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I believe the point is like for the kids themselves, like the education aspect. I mean, for that age group, I just remember it right now. For that age group, which is the younger age group, it's not about education, it's about immersion. Right? So if they didn't learn it through the immersion, through like the absolutely love practicing it and loving it, I don't think it's gonna go inside at all. They're just gonna reject it. They're gonna be there, but they're not present. Do you agree?
And that what you just did right there as well. Body language is huge, right? So when we see that, that is speaking to us as well. When kids are doing this, they're closed off, or even they just don't want it. You're not going to get anything, and we can talk at them all we want. It's the body language as well, opening that up. I did this with my son, actually. So my son used to, when he would get angry, he would turn his body. He would just turn away. And I observed that. And then now we actually make a joke out of it, not in a way of mocking him, but I'm like, every time you don't want to listen to something, you turn your body. And he goes, yeah, I do. So we make them aware. And then when he would do it, he would turn back and he'd be like, oh, I'm doing it again. So, we observe, but when we acknowledge what we observe, we're actually teaching them those life skills again that they might not even know that they're doing.
Oh, yeah, totally. You know what? It happened exactly with Farouk. I need your advice for, like, this is a personal advice that I'm asking for. When we go to during a family meeting, we are blessed that our family does a family meeting where we sit all together and we listen to them, and they start making presentations and they demand this and stuff, and like, oh, that's amazing. Okay, now I realize when we express any issue or any problem to Farouk, my son, his personality, like immediately, he's very sensitive person. Okay. And emotional so much. So immediately he wanted to cry, he keep it, but immediately when he doesn't like it because he's under the spot and we are telling them about this exact problem, the first thing he does, he leave and he want to go to his room. Okay. Now the point is, this is a little bit like a no for us. Why? Or frustrating for us, because if we didn't talk about it, we're not going to be able to fix it.
Yeah.
Right? So we're not against you here. We are trying to acknowledge it so we can find the solution together.
Right.
Okay. Now, at the very beginning, why I'm seeking a personal advice. At the very beginning, I was like a little bit tough. Oh, don't go, just to stay. Listen to me. Now, and then I realized when it happened over and over again,
Yeah.
when I tell him, don't go, just to stay, listen to me, and it happened over and over again, that means he's not listening. He's not,
Yeah.
like, it's not in there any
Yeah.
yet, right? So I'm pretending that I'm saying something and he absorb it, but it's actually no, he's blocking it, right?
Right.
What is your advice to me or parent like myself when the child, because of his emotion, he doesn't want to be inside that situation? How I can approach it from different gentle way that I can teach him in a very nice way that okay, let's fix it.
So have you spoke to him one-on-one? Like when he goes up to his room, have you tried to talk to him just by himself and actually ask him what's going on?
You mean like not in front of his sister or the family?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe like this is where I told him that we need to you need to stay. You need to
Right.
stay with us in order that you express your feeling. Like now you have a feeling. This is the reason you left. This is the reason you start like having tears
Yeah.
in your eyes. But if you didn't tell us, we will never know what's the
Yeah.
exact feeling that we need to know.
So
Right?
when you say to him you need to stay, what is his response to that?
By the way, a lot. Oh, like he used this. I don't know.
Yeah,
So he
see.
doesn't know the feeling. But for me to serve him, to help him, I need him to be present.
Right. So this is where we change it from what I need to what you need. So you say to him, how can we do it differently so that you can feel like you have. So turn it into that, give them the control so that they feel they're in control, but we're still the adult, right?
Gotcha.
So change it around so that they feel like they're actually leading, right? So he feels he's more in control, but you're still guiding it. But we don't have to tell them we're doing it that way. So we just say, so how would you like us to do it differently that you would want, or what is it about that moment that makes you want to walk away? Just really get on his map
Yes.
and just say, how about next time you start off, or really get deep on, and it's not going to go deep right away. Just sit with him. I've got this really good book about feelings that I'll share with you as well, if you want to share with the audience as well. Really get into that, but then share how you feel. Because when we share about our feelings, and that helps them understand. So you can actually share without getting too deep, because they're kids. We don't want them to carry our stuff, but we're doing it in a way to open up and say, sometimes when I don't want to be somewhere, this is what I feel. And then it makes your brain go, okay. Or sometimes when I'm feeling like I can't express myself, I just want to walk away. Really kind of get them understand, because he probably doesn't know. He literally doesn't know. But when you can open up and say, how about you tell me, how would you like it to go next time? Or let's try this next time. And don't bombard him with things. Do it one step at a time, because they're just kids. When we bombard them, it's more noise again. So just break it down, but really get on his map and go, how do you think we could do it next time? Or let's try something different. Because it's all about trying, because one thing that might work for one kid, then your other kid might walk away, right? So it's about getting away from what I need from you to what do you need? What would you like? How would you like it to go?
Wild. That's amazing. Yeah. I will absolutely do it. So to repeat what I learned from you, put it, like, get into his map, number one. Number two, this is I never done this. Oh, sometimes when I have this thing or I have this feeling, I feel that way. Or I have this problem, I feel that way. I never express it in this approach before. I'm gonna try it.
That is so powerful, because it's also a way for you to connect with them. So it's not just you're the adult, that's the child. They're feeling like, okay, yeah, they're human too. Because sometimes, we're just so superior that I tell you to do it, so you have to do it. Nobody likes that, even as a child, right? They want to feel the connection. It's all about the connection.
Wow. Will
Yeah.
do. Thank you so much for the
You're
advice. That's
welcome.
awesome. Okay, let's go to the next one. We covered this one. Okay. I have here that if you like you already shared this one, this exact point for my personal advice, where I'm saying, like, should we provide them and help them with tools and techniques to better communication? You just shared with me
Yeah. Yeah.
two of them. Now, do you have something similar to these tools or techniques that the ECEs can use as well?
I think with ECEs as well, it's that chart. It's the chart to say, you know, how they feel. But even feelings, like even if you ask a child, are you frustrated? What does frustrated mean? Because it can mean different things for different people. So I think it's really about explaining yourself, like not to the point, like I said, that they're carrying your stuff, but just to get that little bit of connection. Because, you know, even when a child is shut off, they're not going to talk to you. If you try and understand them, they're not going to talk to you, right? So it's really just soften yourself up, your body, just be aware of your body language when you're talking to a child, and then that's going to soften them. And then also what you observe with them, just say, I see that you look a little upset. Is something going on? Or how are you feeling? And they might say, I don't know. Well, are you feeling a little sad? Or are you feeling a little, are you hungry? Like, throw the ideas and you will see them soften up, but you have to soften up first. Because if you say, well, I see that you're so mad. What's wrong? What's your problem? They're going to
I'm not
go,
gonna say it.
right? So it's always about our tone, about our body language, and about us. Because whatever we are going to take, they're going to pick up, right?
Yes, and it happened a lot. Oh my God,
Yeah,
this happened to a lot.
it
Yes,
does. It happens
yes,
all the time.
yes, yes. Okay, so for that chart, like I believe this is also we covered this exact point in one of the other episodes where we are teaching the emotion to the kids. The point is with that exact chart, let's call it the emotion chart, right? Did you spend some time that you express different feeling and teach different feeling beforehand, before the tantrum show, before
Yes,
all of
yes,
that? I believe this is very important, but here is the point. How many parents they have that chart at home or they have that practice at home?
yeah.
Mostly they don't do it. Mostly they
No,
don't do it. They just react to the
yes,
action after the fact.
yeah. But this is where when we can start implementing it with the kids, and this is where I say the kids are our teachers, because they start to, if they're comfortable, obviously every home environment is different, and not every home is going to have that ability where the child can take it home. But if we can teach the child that, even in the short time we're with them in school, we're still making a change in their life. They're still going to take it away. As much as we don't think that they will, they're still taking it away, right? Because every home situation is different, right? We can't control that. But whatever part in the child's life that we can contribute to, we're still making a change. Even if it's if we feel, oh, this isn't going to work, we don't know that. So don't stop trying. Don't stop being your best for that child just because we think it's not going to work.
I agree. I agree. You know what? What? Let me put this in practical action right away. Okay, one of the main goals of having UKU community and having these coaching calls is to so we get some feedback and then we serve parents, we serve ECEs to the next level, right? So if we already have an emotion sheet that made for ECEs, so they print it and then they
Oh,
start.
perfect.
We already have it, and we already attach to it a calm down sheet. But right now,
Oh,
I learned from you something very nice, which is not every home environment is the same. They are different. And now you bring me an idea. I'm going to ask you, even live, I'm going to ask you about it. And if you confirm it, we will do it. I'm going to go to the designers and ask them to do it. We can create a screen, a background for our
oh,
phone screen. So we change the design and then they can have it access to it very easily when we share it, let's say in the community, and then they can show it to the kids. So easy, like make it very easy for the parent to use it as a flashcard, but instead of physical flashcard, make it as a background of their screen. Do you like it as a parent here?
I do like that. You know, that's a really great idea to just have it right there. So it's just, you know, it's just accessible right there. The thing is, we have to remember it does, it comes back to the parents at the end of the day. The parents, the adults, everybody. When we as adults don't even know what we're feeling, how do we allow children to express what they're feeling?
But this is the reason we are making this phone, this Zoom call, is because we
Yeah,
wanna
yeah,
teach, we wanna what we call it, inspire people, inspire
yeah,
parents that you have to do this practice at home.
yeah. So I mean, having on the phone, I mean, we always have our phones with us. That is perfect. We all do.
Wow, wow!
So
I'm gonna put this
having
one in
it on the
action right
phone
away.
is just yeah. But again, remembering that the number one thing is not when the child is in the middle of something, we're not going to stick that phone in their face and go, "Hey, what are you feeling?"
Yes, which one is you?
So, you know, even the calm down, it's like when we're angry and someone says to us, calm down, it doesn't work. We get more angry,
Yeah.
right? So it's taking that pause is the number one thing. And then going, okay, in that moment, how did you feel? But having it accessible on the phone is just, it's perfect as well. I
Yes.
mean, the more things we have access to, the better we can do, right?
We will do it right away. Absolutely. I love that. Like, thank you so much.
Oh, you're
You know
welcome.
what? Wow. I'll go to the next one. Okay. Here is a very important point which happen a lot. If they resist, the kids resist. If they throw the tantrum, if they don't know how to express their communication, and they always resist, stay calm as a parent, right? It seems like sometimes they go high, and the parent, they want to go over top, and then they go higher, and the kids here, they're gonna just get scared, and they're gonna come anyways, or like not come, they're gonna just, I'm sorry, shut up anyways, because you are over top. Okay, any elaboration on this point? For us, this is advice for us as an adult, which is stay calm at that point.
You know, in that moment, we're all almost struggling, right? It's like butting heads because we just want them to listen and they just feel not heard. So it's when we just keep escalating, no one's going to come down. So, what I learned really well in that moment, turn around and take a breath, or just put my hand on my heart and just go, because really that we're going, right? And what I found when my daughter was going through her tantrum stage, she would get angry and walk away and then come back. And she was, when I was able to step back and observe, she was lost. She didn't know. She wanted to go away, then she wanted to come back. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. But then she'd come back. So when I talked to her counselor about this, it was interesting because, you know, when we're in it, we feel like, okay, I know all this stuff, but why is it not working? Her counselor gave me a really great piece of advice, which was she wants to be close to you, but she doesn't know how. So then what I started doing was I would sit down and I would say, do you need a hug? And she'd say, no, leave me alone. And I'd say, okay, well, if you want to come back, the hug is there. So she would go away, storm up the stairs, but then she'd come back and can I get a hug? And then she'd just cry. So in that moment, what it is, it's so important to remember we are the adult. They are the kid. They're not trying to give us a hard time. They're having a hard time. So if we step back and go, this is not about me, it's about them. Because what happens is we go into our child and we go into that, they're not listening to me and they need to listen to me. And that's where our anger, or they need to get their shoes on. Let's get a real example. We've got to get out the door. You got to get your shoes on. Let's put it in the bigger perspective here. If they are 2 minutes late for school, and I'm right, I'm punctual and I get all that, right? But if they are 2 minutes late for school and you drop them off and they're feeling upset, how is the rest of their day going to go? Probably going to go pretty crappy, and we're going to feel crappy. They're going to feel crappy, and it's just going to be a snowball effect. But if we take that minute and go, look, I know you're having a hard time. What's going on? Do you need a hug? They're going to be able to calm down and have that moment. And then they're going to go to school feeling better than you drop them off and all, you know, it's just, it's all about the emotional well-being rather than ticking off those boxes. And then what I learned was I went through these stages myself with my kids, right? Then what I learned was when we can figure out this might happen, let's just start this putting on the shoes 5 minutes earlier in the morning. I mean, it's hard getting out the door anyway. We're all in a rush to get out the door. But if we can focus on the emotional well-being, we're going to just be better off in the end. So if we start 5 minutes earlier, so then if we're early at school, that's great. But if it's going to take that extra time to get the shoes on, we're not all yelling and screaming and flustered. I'm not starting off the day or whatever it is we're doing. Give it that little bit time. But for me, the emotional well-being is above all of the ticking off the boxes, because emotions are just so important to acknowledge. We can't ignore them. Because then what happens when we ignore them is the next thing that happens in the day is going to have a bigger tantrum. And the next one's going to have a bigger tantrum. And we just keep going.
This is an absolutely important point. The snowball effect. If we understand this, I believe we will back off 80% of our anger for their sake, for their like rest of the day. Right?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm learning a lot of these calls.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, emotions, communication, it's key, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Like I have a feeling, it's not a feeling, it's actually a fact that happened with me personally because of our parent didn't do like we absolutely love them. We love like they are the best people on the world, right? For us, right? But I believe when we were kids, we were in an era where always like they come from a little bit higher or over top. And then our first reaction is to do what our parent did to us, right? But right now with this, like it's very powerful. It's very powerful. Like I would absolutely put this one in action if they are late the next day on school. That I would step back for them for that exact extra 1 minute. They're already late, 2 minutes, right? And then focus on how I can make the rest of the snowballing effect for the rest of the day emotionally better.
Yeah. And you know what I find is we actually can teach our own parents from this as well, because our parents did the best that they knew how to do with what they had, right? But when they observe us, they might not agree with it at first, but when they start to see that this might actually be something that works.
Now you're gonna teach them, like, okay. Now you're going deep.
Oh no, I'll tell you one thing. I have actually seen the shift in my parents, so I can see it does work. It does work. At first, there was a lot of resistance because when I apologized to my son for the first time, I think he was like 4 or 5, maybe. My dad's like, you have to say sorry to your kids. I'm like, absolutely. Why would I not? If I did something that they feel hurt them, of course I'm going to say sorry. And but as they're observing me, I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, but I can guarantee you when they observe us, they might not acknowledge it.
Oh my God.
May start to go, okay, maybe there's some truth to this.
Oh my God, you brought back a very nice memory. It's exact situation happened when we went to visit my parents. Like they are in different country. When we went to visit them, and then they realized they saw me, observed me, especially my father. He's a tough man, right? So he observed me saying sorry to Farouk, my child, and he said, "Did you say sorry to him?" Yes, Dad, because I made a mistake. Get out of the room. So that was me. Like he was blaming me. Get out of here. Like, what are you doing? So yes, it didn't happen a lot after that. I mean, the observation part because we are in different countries. But you just brought the same exact example, and because maybe it happened with you a lot, many times, they start understanding it. But I don't think
for me, I have 2 nieces as well who live with my parents. So I have actually kind of talked to my parents about how to be different with them. So that's where my parents live in a different country as well. I haven't seen them now in almost 3 years, but we talk all the time in FaceTime. So when I observe my mom saying or doing something to my nieces, I won't say it right then. But after I'll say, hey mom, why don't you try it this way next time? Or how about if you said it this way? And she'll kind of stop and go, I didn't think of it that way. But it took a lot to get there because parents think we all think we know best. But for just plant the seed, is planting the seed, because we're all learning. But as if they're not open to learning, that's okay. Let's just do our best with what we have and, hope for the best.
Yes. And I'm going to take this moment to thank all of the parents, even our parents as well. Absolutely. Like this is some very nice way you put it right now, which is they did their best in what they had at that time and what they thought that the best for us at that exact era. I really love it. So thank you, parents. Thank you, mom and dad, and for every parent. Okay, let's move to the next point. Okay, so here is the catch. Also, when we as parents teaching through demanding, through order, through a lot of stuff, kids sometimes they don't know or they don't understand the point that making mistake is okay, and making some mistakes. Here is a very deep point. In a controlled environment, still safe to make a mistake in a controlled environment. Okay, some kids, they think that it is not okay to make a mistake, which is going to be affecting their future life through that development. Oh, mistakes is no, that mean I have to be perfect, and no one is perfect. So they're going to really get a tough life in the future, because it's not gonna happen. So the next point, which is I would love to have some examples on it, which is mistake in a safe, in a controlled environment, it's still safe to be done, a mistake.
So there is so many for this. We could start with even spilling a glass of milk, right? Spilling a glass of milk. I mean, you'll see kids do that and then they go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And they get really, anxious. Because it could be that they spill that milk and then, it's created a lot of work for us adults that we need to get out the door. We've got other kids around or in school or whatever. But if we turn that into, oh my God, you always do this. When we turn it into the blame, they start to think they've done something wrong, right? And I get it. It can be, now we need to take time to clean this mess up. But if we go, you didn't do it on purpose, it's just spilt milk, we can clean it up. And believe me, I've been on both sides of this, right? So when we don't make them feel bad about themselves is the number one thing. So then you can make a mistake, but you can work around it and go, next time, maybe just put the glass over there, or just be a little more careful. Or, it's us as adults that make them feel they've done something wrong. Because whenever we make someone feel bad about something, however big or small it is, they start to feel like they're bad. Oh, I'm so clumsy. I'm so bad. I'm so dumb, right? So I'm working with my daughter on this right now because she's a real perfectionist. And I've decided to homeschool her this year. And my son, he's the opposite. He's like, whatever, it will get done as long as I did it.
Oh, God help you, homeschool. This is tough.
Yeah. So my son's going back to school because it's his last year in elementary. And my daughter homeschooling, and she's real, like it has to be perfect. The O has to be perfect. And it's great having those skills, but not if they're detrimental, not if you're going to be beating yourself up. So even she loves to do art, but she thinks art needs to be perfect. And I have art all around the house. And I see, but art is about mistakes. You make mistakes and they become beautiful. So it's us as adults really turning that mistake, what we call a mistake, into a learning opportunity, right? So if they're feeling bad about themselves, how can we make them go, you made this mistake, but let's learn from it. It's all about the learning. And whenever we turn it into the judgment or the blame, or you always do this, we tend to say, you always do this. Well, they don't always, nobody always does something, right? It's changing our perspective on what is a mistake. Is it a mistake or is it a learning opportunity? Because everything's learning, right? Even the most annoying things can be a learning opportunity to go, okay, this happened, let's learn from it. And we're teaching them, again, those life skills through the mistakes.
Can I add one more point? Not one more point. Elaborate on this point.
Yeah.
and especially for the older age. Let's say if we are really trying to help 2 to 6 years old, let's talk about that 6 years old child.
Right.
Okay, if I am always trying to be the good parent, oh, it's okay, you don't do it. Like, am I doing my job like entirely? I need to do the discipline. I need to do
Yeah.
that, right? And I realized I found the answer in your advice right now, which is turn it to a learning opportunity. But at the same time, if I am always okay, they're gonna feel, oh, dad is like the layback person. He's always okay. Like, I want them to know it's okay to make mistake, but you have to learn from it.
Yes, absolutely. But then that's where the learning comes in. And it's all about our delivery, right? If we, how are we learning that? It's, of course we have to discipline. We're the parents. Of course we have to discipline. We're the teachers. But what is discipline? To me, discipline is not punishment. It's learning. So we don't have to say, oh, that's okay. It is okay, but it's the delivery, right? If we're stern about it, it turns into punishment. If we're teaching from it, like, think about yourself. When was the times that you learned the most and when you shut down the most? If I make a mistake and I'm going to get punished, I'm going to next time make the mistake, but I'm going to be sneaky about it. If I am taught the right way, I've got the connection, I'm going to go, hey, mom or dad, I did this. I messed up. They will start becoming, they will take ownership, and it does work. Like, this is lived experience for me. And I see it in other children. They learn to lie and they learn to be sneaky, even at a young age, because they don't want to be punished. So it's always about not the punishment, but the discipline, but how are we delivering the discipline?
Wow. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Here is a very important feedback. Yesterday, we had what we call it. We had a family movie night, and then Hiba, my wife, she was like she had a movie from her, like when she was like a child or a kid. It's called Like Mike. Okay, where
Right.
Michael Jordan, like he like that child, he used Michael Jordan sneakers, and then he become feeling that he has superpower.
Right.
At the end of the movie, we always do as parents, we always say, okay, what did we learn from this one? Okay, so I told them something I learned from my mentor, Tony Robbins, and he said Michael Jordan, he does the huge work, a lot of work when no one is watching. So he set up a goal where he throw the ball, like he teach his hand to throw the ball 1,500 times every day. So we learned something very amazing yesterday called "Who are you when no one's watching?"
Yes.
You do the work when no one's watching,
Yeah.
and then you get rewarded when people watching
Yeah.
at the game.
Absolutely.
I would love, by the way, to use this. Who are you when no one's watching? Maybe we'll do a full episode on it.
Oh,
Okay, but I
yeah.
believe like if I summarize the last thing that you taught us right now, it's who are you when no one's watching, and then they learn from it, and then that challenge or that problem become a challenge opportunity to learn the discipline that belongs to that problem.
Yeah, I think that would be a great episode because yeah, that would be deep. That would be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Now I believe we have 2 more minutes. If you a lot happened today, and I'm gonna go back to this episode and just write a lot of action
Yeah.
points. Okay, if you can finish it with maybe a couple action points as a summarize to us, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think really take that pause as the adult, take that moment to kind of pause and look at what's going on inside of me. And then, the other thing is the child is not giving me a hard time, they're having a hard time. If we can see them as they're actually struggling, they're not trying to make it hard for me, we might see them a little bit differently. And just really not try to fit them in that box and focus more on the emotions rather than ticking off those boxes, because those boxes will exceed once the kids are emotionally, feeling heard and accepted and acknowledged. So those are a few pointers, and yeah, we did cover a lot in the hour.
Very nice one. Thank you so much. You know what?
You're
Thank you so much for
welcome.
your time. I really appreciate it. And coming over the weekend, I really appreciate your time. Okay,
Absolutely.
let's wrap up this one. And guys, thank you again also for being with us, watching. This is UKU Impacting Education Show, and this is your host Khaled Farouk Hayek. And until next time, cheers.